HERA is the Humanities in the European research area. It's a network of European funders that are brought together to collaborate and to come up with topics, research areas that we think researchers in European contexts have a particularly distinctive role to play.
HERA is a consortium of 21 partners, including the European Science Foundation. The kind of research that gets funded includes everything from medieval studies to archaeology to contemporary literary studies. We cover the range of electronic literature, prehistoric fabrics, and really the intention is to enable humanities researchers to work together in a way that's not usually possible in national funding schemes, to build connections and networks and relationships with researchers right across Europe, and to explore sort of interdisciplinary questions that can't be done by just one discipline alone.
The reports are testimony to the value of collaboration, of internationality and of interdisciplinarity in opening the research to questions which can't be contained within frontiers and which couldn't be addressed as effectively by any other means.
The conference is really a fantastic opportunity for the researchers that were funded under the first joint research programme to come together, to network, to talk about their projects, but also to share some of that learning.
I'm representing Fashioning the Early Modern, Creativity and Innovation in Europe 1500 to 1800. It's a project that asks a very simple question. Around 1630, men from Spain to Sweden start to shave their heads and wear somebody else's hair. Why do they do this? This is a very odd thing to do. It's usually explained it's fashionable now, but we're asking the question, well, what does fashion mean? How does fashion work? How does this spread from different parts of society and across different parts of Europe? To do that, we brought together teams in Northern Europe and Southern Europe to come together to ask these kind of fundamental questions about why we imitate each other and why we want to look the way we do.
This is a project about cultural memory and the resources of the past, but from 400 to 1000. So we're working on the dialogue between late antiquity and the early Middle Ages. One of the things that has emerged for us is the importance of Rome. And Rome is such a complicated notion in terms of the idea. It's the imperial past, it's also Christian Rome, the papacy, and all the influence that then is spread out in terms of missionary work and spiritual work. But another thing that's emerged is how important the Bible is and how that gets fed into political discourse. Our project has now been at Leeds every year, so everybody knows in the medieval scholarly world about HERA and the HERA project, because it's always called the HERA project.
One of the things that we often get given back to us sometimes in the discourse is that arts and humanities research is actually about lone scholars. It's not about collaboration, it's not about partnership. What something like the HERA programme is really able to achieve is scale up the kinds of partnerships that researchers are actually quite familiar with, that they engage in quite a lot, partnerships between different researchers in different disciplines, within the same institution, beyond their institution. And this scales it up to a European level. So what we're really talking about is the similarities of discourse, the different kind of research topics that can benefit from multiple perspectives being brought into play.
Some of the framework programs that have been sponsored by the European Commission have tended to give more attention to questions and issues in the sciences and technology and so on, and sometimes even the social sciences. And I think that very often humanities scholars have not felt that there's sufficient opportunity for them to participate in these large projects. So HERA was a way of enabling humanities-focused collaboration to take place, and also, I suppose, to kind of build capacity for researchers so that they will be well positioned to participate in larger framework programs in the future, give humanities researchers the experience of working in teams with all that that entails, both the opportunities and the challenges.
I'm project leader for a project called Rhythm Changes, Jazz Cultures and European Identities, and it's funded under the Cultural Dynamics programme here for HERA. I'm basically looking at jazz scenes across 5 European countries, the UK, Netherlands, Austria, Denmark and Norway. And to think about how jazz has developed in those settings and how it ties into concepts of national identity. We've been really fortunate over the last 3 years to work with a whole host of organisations across Europe, jazz festivals, venues, national agencies to explore what jazz means to people.
In Timber, we're looking at the development of creativity from objects. And we're looking particularly at three materials: pottery, textiles and metal, in the period approximately 1800 to 500 BC. And in this period what we see is the development of things that we take for granted, like colour, pattern or texture, for example, in textiles. We see metal, a new material being worked with in new ways, people understanding how to work with it, and ceramics, which is an established material but being used in different and novel ways. The HERA funding's been incredibly valuable for us. It's enabled us to work across a series of institutions to develop themes and ideas that we wouldn't otherwise have had the opportunity to do.
There's no point in arguing that collaboration and partnership is actually quite straightforward and easy. It's not. It's full of complications. It involves a lot of compromise, and it involves a great deal of activity that's really about how this collaboration is going to operate, how these researchers are going to achieve more collectively than they could individually. What this conference allows people to do is really think about what they've learned from this experience, and also how we can facilitate a different kind of dialogue around the role that humanities play in informing much bigger European initiatives.
One of the great contributions that humanities have to make to society is in encouraging and fostering a well-educated, well-informed society, one that embraces critical thinking, that embraces debate. The great achievement here, I think, of HERA also has been to produce this collaborative culture where collective action enables people to deal with some very important fundamental questions in a way that just would be impossible otherwise. So again, the collective action, I think, is one of the legacies of HERA. Just the ability to contribute to this building of a healthy European society, I think, is one of the things that we should be proud of.